There we go.
Hi. How's it going? How's it going? If I sit down here with you. Wini. Wini. Wini, hey. Good. Yeah. Or the crib? You wanna? Here. What if I do him up here? Oh, I'm making it look all dirty. Come on, Wini. Wini. Wini, Wini, Wini. Wini, Wini, Wini. Wini, Wini, Wini. One minute and counting. Wini. Hot. How's it going? Good girl. You're a very good girl. Hello everybody and welcome to Meet the Dog. I'm Chris and with me today is Wini. Wini is from the Poppins litter. Her parents are Capri and Trip. She just turned a year old this month, so happy birthday to her. She is weighing in at, I know she went down a couple pounds. I think it was a little above 100 pounds. She went down a little bit. She was being very finicky about eating for a while. She was eating 3 times a day. Well, she was supposed to be eating 3 times a day, but she was really more like she was eating once a day. She was refusing breakfast a lot. Sometimes would only eat like half for lunch. Would usually eat dinner. So we ended up cutting her back a little bit, and that ended up helping. I also think that she's entered a bit of a growth spurt, so that could also be doing it. So we got her back on 3 times a day now. 2.5 breakfast and dinner, 2 cups lunch, and she's been eating just fine, so hopefully it stays that way. She's a very sweet girl, doing very well in her training. I know she went out training today with John, and he said that she did very well while they were out. Seems like, just like with the rest of her siblings, a lot of the stuff she needs to work on is just all of the maturity stuff, focus, attention, stuff like that. You know, they're still young. They're still only a year old, so I think they've got some time to get that out of their system. And with the repetition of the training, it sounds like they're starting to get it. So hopefully, it will not be too long before they're ready. But she's a very good girl. Doesn't get into too much mischief anymore. She used to be a bit of a troublemaker. She would, when we wanted her to come in from playing or dinner, she used to give us the runaround like Tasha used to. She very much knows exactly what she's doing and still refusing to come in. She has thankfully also gotten over that. She's been doing very well with her recall. And hopefully, that's another thing that I'm hoping it stays that way. So let's open it up to some questions about Miss Wini. Crafty asked, what are her favorite treats? We've been having them on milk bones lately, and they seem to really like those. There was a period of time I mentioned a minute ago that she had a period of time or she was being very finicky about eating and wasn't a huge fan of treats. That thankfully has changed. Her appetite's back. She's a fan of treats again. She does really like the milk bones. They're a good girl. Yeah. Barb V asks, what is something I love about Winnie? I love that she looks, at least as far as the colors go, she looks so much like Evie. She has a very similar pattern to Evie. Like the same kind of, like, as far as her like merle coloration goes, it's a very similar shade of gray. She has like the little like kind of like eyeshadow under her eyes like Evie did. So she definitely has more of her mother's face. But the coloration reminds me a lot of Evie, and I really do love that. She's very sweet. Like the rest of her siblings, she's such a cuddler. If you sit with her, I think she's a little bit too antsy right now, so she probably won't sit with me. But she's a big cuddler, so I love that about her. She really is such a good girl. Drove me insane when she was doing her whole recall thing, but she's over that now, so we good. We good. Ain't that right? Yes, she good girl. Let's see. Barb V asks, does she have any nicknames? I call her Winrar, or just Win. I'm not sure. I haven't really heard too many people call her other nicknames. She's got a very short name, so not too much to nickname right there. But I call her Winrar every once in a while, because that is the closest thing I could get out of Winnie. Good girl. Barbie also asked, is she very vocal? Yes, she is. I would say one of the more vocal ones of the litter. I think they're all pretty vocal dogs. She's definitely one of the more vocal ones, though, along with Sugar, Derby, and Pearly. The four of them are kind of the most vocal ones of the litter, I would say. Yes, very good. Crafty asks, what would you look for in a potential recipient for her? Honestly, I think it's a little too early to tell. I think personality-wise right now, she's pretty well-rounded, so I think we could fit her with pretty much anyone. I think a huge part of it is going to be how much growing she still has to do. If she gets any taller, she's definitely going to fill out more. So that's good. But I think it's really going to be dependent on if she gets any taller, because that'll be a huge impact on who we're going to be putting her with and what kind of person. Personality-wise, I think she'll do pretty well with anyone. As you can see, when she's got the attention on her, she's very relaxed, very mellow. So I think she would just kind of do well with whoever we could stick her with. She also does very well with other dogs. I know she gets along well with Emma. So I think she could probably go to a family that has other dogs and she'd still be fine. Yeah. So as to what the ideal kind of recipient would for her to be, I think that still kind of waits to be seen, but I do think she does have a wide range of possibility. Barbie asks, what 3 words best describe her? I would say delicate. She's a little bit of a flower. A little bit of a nervous Nelly. She's sweet, and I would say either cuddly or vocal. Would all either of those would be pretty good words. Crafty asks, how is she during overnights and public events? I don't think she's done too many overnights. I know she's gone for an overnight with her for her spaying, and it sounds like she did pretty well with that. Public events, I know she's gone to at least one. I'm trying to think she's done more than one. I know she's done at least one because at this point I think pretty much all the Poppins litter have done at least one. And I heard pretty good things about, I can't remember what it was, but I do remember she did pretty well. I do not remember hearing any staggering problems, as it were. Let's see. Gonna give it a few more minutes for any other questions about Wini. And I think I hear something in the walls. That's fun. Probably like a squirrel or something. Any other questions? Oh yeah, absolutely a squirrel. Alright. Any other questions about Miss Wini? You are doing very well right now. Do you want to lie down? Do you want to get relaxed in like the last 2 minutes of this, like your brother did the other day? Because that's what all of your siblings do. Probably because we don't have the futon anymore. If we had the futon uncovered, you'd probably be right up there with me, huh? Barbie asked, what kennel is she in right now? So right now we got her in kennel 5 on Puppy Hill. She is next to her brothers Alfred and Derby. Doing very well over there. We tried her on Donkey Hill a couple times. She was not a huge fan of it for whatever reason. So we decided we're probably just gonna keep her on Puppy Hill flat field for now. Let's see, anything I can think of before we end. Some of the more commonly asked questions. She gets along, I mentioned earlier, she does pretty well with everyone as far as playing goes. I think her best friends would probably be Dawes and Derby. Whenever I put her with Dawes, the two of them really tear it up. Very hard to get the two of them in when they're playing. She also gets along, oh, actually, I just refreshed it and I see Crafty just asked who are her best friends. So, to continue on that question, she also gets along very well with Emma. She really loves to play with Emma. Emma, she tolerates her. I think she's just a little bit too young for Emma. But, they do very well together, which is always a good sign. It's always refreshing to see that she can do well with another girl. No, it's probably not going to be 100% success rate, but even just the one it's refreshing to see. It's always a good sign. As I mentioned earlier, it makes it a bit easier to place them. Some other dogs she does get well with. She plays pretty well with Alfred and Banks. I don't know if I've put her with Bert in a while. I put them together every once in a while, but not as common as I do with Banks or Derby. I mean, Dawes or Derby. Good girl. Yeah. Oh, those are the Yeah. You done? You ready to go back? All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As always, we'll be back next week with another dog. Until then, everybody take care. All right, you ready? Let me go take care of all this. Sound.